Welcome to fifth grade literacy night. In fifth grade, we're not just reading, we are expanding our vocabulary. We are learning new perspectives. We are put inside of historical events. We are deepening our understanding of science. We pretend to be someone else. We write our own stories and we go places we've never been before. This year, the fifth grade has decided to give the students the book, The Mostly True Adventures of Homer P. Figg. This is a Newbery honor winning book that is historical fiction. It is written about the Civil War, which is a social studies topic that the students will be learning about later this year. In fifth grade, we discuss the author a lot. We look at how the author's perspective could change the way stories are written. When we understand the background of the author, it helps us to really understand the motivations of why they wrote the book and what the author wants us to learn from the book. It also helps us to learn that we can all be writers.
Well, my name is Rodman Philbrick. I didn't start out writing books for kids. For years, I wrote mystery novels and detective stories and thrillers and medical thrillers under my own name and other names. And then when I was in my early 40s, I stumbled upon an idea for a book about kids. And I had so much fun writing it. It was called Freak the Mighty, although I continue to write books for adults, I still try to write every couple of years another book for young readers. I started writing in about sixth grade, actually. I'm not quite sure what gave me the thought that I could be a writer, except that I love to read books. And I have three younger brothers. And when we used to entertain ourselves, when my mother would encourage us to go outside and play so that she could have a moment of sanity in the house, we often acted out stuff we'd seen on television or read in books. So somehow or other, when I was in sixth grade, I got it into my head that I could write too. And I tried to write short stories. They were mostly very short stories, a page or a page and a half with a trick ending. And I began to have them typed up and try to send them out to magazines with the idea that I would keep this a big dark secret from everybody until I became a famous author overnight. That didn't happen when I was in junior high school. I wrote many stories. And then when I was in high school, I still hadn't sold a story. And I hadn't told anybody that I was a writer because I didn't want to be made fun of, frankly. I wanted to announce it the moment I became famous. I decided in high school that short stories weren't working, so I would have to write a novel. And so I did. When I was a sophomore, I wrote what I thought of as a novel. I now think of as a series of short stories about the same two characters. And I was once again convinced that when I had it typed up and brought it into a publisher that I would become famous overnight. And then everybody who thought I was just, sort of some jerky kid in the back of the room would be really glad that they knew me. But they managed to resist the temptation to turn me into a famous teenage author. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s and had written 7 or 8 novels that I was finally able to sell a book. And that was books for adults, thrillers and mysteries. As I say, it wasn't until later on that I discovered that there was a 12-year-old boy's voice in my head that wanted to keep telling me stories.
We found this information from Goodreads.com. They said that a dramatic, witty Civil War tale from best-selling author Rodman Philbrick. Master storyteller Rodman Philbrick takes readers on a colorful journey as young Homer Figg sets off to follow his brother into the thick of the Civil War. Through a series of fascinating events, Homer's older brother has been allegedly sold to the Union Army. It is up to Homer to find him and save him. Along the way, he encourages strange but real people of that era, two tricksters who steal his money, a snake oil salesman, a hot air balloonist, and finally, a Maine regiment who saved Little Round Top at the Battle of Gettysburg and won the war for the Union. So the setting of this story took place in the Civil War time of 1861 to 1865. One thing that could be asked is, how does the author show you the setting? It's important as students read that they're asking questions about characters, settings, and events. Through this, they can learn many things. The place was Maine and the Battle of Gettysburg. A question that could be asked of the students is, what does the author say to help you visualize the location? Through these slides, we are going to show you some questions similar to these that you could ask your student as you read this book together. So in 5th grade, our questioning of students in reading is increasingly more difficult. However, through constant practice and being asked the right questions, students' understanding of text becomes amazing. These are some questions that you should ask your 5th grader as they read. One standard that we learn in 5th grade is, what does the text say? It's looking for text-based evidence to solve questions. So as a parent, you can ask something that's a right there question, something that the student can actually find the answer and touch the answer in the text. You can ask a question that they can then search for the answer. It could be from the page they just read, or you could wait till the end of the chapter and ask them a question that they have to go back in the text and find. Your child should be searching for that answer, not just giving you the answer that they think it is. They should then answer your question and include something like, in the text, it says this. They are using that text-based evidence to prove their answer. Another standard in 5th grade is theme. You can ask your student things about, what lesson is this story trying to teach you? Remind them that the theme is not told directly in the story. Students often confuse main idea and theme. The main idea being what the story is about versus the theme, what is the author trying to teach you through this story? If you ask your student what lesson this story is telling you, or what is the theme of this story, they should still search to find their answer. They should answer, and they should always say, in the text it says this to prove. They should always give you evidence. Their evidence will be in the text, but the theme probably will not be. Another thing that this standard asks is, how do things change? How does a character change throughout the book? How is the setting changing and why? Or how do the events change throughout this book? Again, they should always search for the answer your question, and then say something similar to, in the text it says. For the third reading standard in 5th grade, you're really comparing and contrasting. You're focusing on how things are similar or different, comparing characters, settings, or events. How are these two characters similar? How are these two settings different? Your child should search to find the answer. And they should answer your question with a blank and blank are blank because. So, for example, Homer and his brother are similar because. And then they should always end with, I know this because in the text it says. So, again, they're always looking back for that text-based evidence. In 5th grade, that text-based evidence is the most important thing. Our fourth standard is really talking about what words and phrases mean within a 5th grade text. Some of the words or phrases that they're going to hear are words that have multiple meanings. So you could ask, what does blank mean as it's used in this text? How did you figure that out? Your child should again read in the book, and they should say, blank means this. I know because in the text it says this, and this helped me to understand. If they're using that vocabulary and constantly searching for their answers, it's going to help them have a better understanding of the story that they're reading. Books are a uniquely portable magic. We hope that you enjoy traveling through time with Homer P. Fig. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to your student's teacher. However, there's a great resource that every child has. Each child is asked to take notes in a reading notebook. These notebooks are their portal into understanding our reading. So please always ask the students, look in your notebook. Do you have anything in there about this? Maybe it can help. We hope that you have a great day.